So you go out and get yourself one of the better wide receivers on the planet, and you're sitting there 24 hours later with still nobody to throw him the football. Good morning to you. Good, I think, Tuesday morning. I'm Dejan Kovacevic of DK Pittsburgh Sports. This is Daily Shot of Steelers. It comes your way bright and early every weekday if you're into hockey and or baseball. I also offer daily shots of Penguins and Pirates in the same place that you found this. Justin Fields, of course, is headed to East Rutherford, New Jersey to join the Jets. He'll be paid $40 million over 2 years, 30 of that guaranteed. By all accounts, it was upping the guaranteed money that got this done. From the Pittsburgh perspective, again, by all accounts, the offer was 2 years and 30, with 20 of that guaranteed, and that didn't do it, which leaves not just us, but way more importantly, them, the Steelers, with so many questions, not least of which is, who? Who do you get? Where do you get them from? Are they even available to be gotten? You've probably done this a lot too over the past 24 hours, but my exercise in this has been trying to find an avenue. And look, I've been saying for weeks now, I'm not building up Fields to be something that he wasn't and isn't and most likely won't be. Rather, I was looking at the whole landscape, meaning what would happen if this happened? What would be the options in the wake of this happening? Well, here we are. And because it all occurs so quickly, once the doors open, there goes Sam Darnold to Seattle. There goes pretty much every other quarterback out there. There goes Kenny Pickett to Cleveland. Everybody found a seat, like almost instantly, except Aaron Rodgers. And of course, Russell Wilson. Now, I'd been reporting to you for more than a month that Fields was the Steelers' main target. He was the guy they wanted to keep. They didn't do enough to make that happen. I also reported that there is a big percentage of the people in that building who do not want Russ back. That remains true as well. Russ is aware of this, so you can pretty much take him out of that equation. And it's Rodgers. I mean, you can go backup shopping. You can go 1A shopping. You can call Atlanta and ask how serious they are about Michael Penix and if they're going to just let Kirk Cousins sit there. This is not an attractive option. Going after Malik Willis, who had himself a decent finish to the 2024 season, not an attractive option, not when it comes to starting. Talking to the Titans about Mason Rudolph, which a lot of you have brought up here to my surprise in the past 24 hours. You guys know how I feel about Mason, but you guys know that there also were football games that were played in 2024 in Nashville and that Mason had chances and didn't exactly pounce on those. So, theoretically, not an attractive option. The draft has one impact quarterback by all accounts in Cam Ward, and you'd have to be in the top 3 or 4 or 5 to have a crack at him. And you'd have to give up a bunch of everything to get there. Not an attractive option. You could try to force a quarterback with your actual first-round pick, but there's not really anybody in that range who excites anyone. And since you no longer have a second-round pick, having given it up for DK Metcalf, you now won't be able to select a best player available type until the 3rd round. Not an attractive option. All of which would appear to be pointing to Rodgers, who is 41 years old, as injury-prone now as he's ever been, understandably, and who comes with his own caseload of drama week after week after week, wherever it is that he happens to be playing. Say it with me, not an attractive option. And this, my friends, is why you have to have a quarterback plan. You have to have a committed quarterback plan to ensure that your football team is not left high and dry at the sport's most important position. You don't do that Steelers thing that nobody thinks is cool anymore anyway, of hanging on and hanging on and hanging on, and we're just going to be us, and we're just going to say things like Art Rooney said in January about how, we'd like to sign one of them, and we want it to be the more mobile guy, and we want it to be the younger guy, and then not get it done? Listen, once more, with gusto here, I'm not suggesting that Fields would have been the cure-all here in Pittsburgh. As I've said all along, I liked his improvement level. I liked the way he carried himself. I liked a lot of his actual footballing in the first 4 of his 6 starts. But what happened here was 2 things. One, the Steelers took way too long to make any kind of determination about either quarterback, Fields or Wilson. And then 2, once they got to this finish line, they locked themselves into an internal valuation, which is almost always a mistake when it comes to free agency in professional sports. And here's what I mean by that. The Steelers look at Fields, they judge what his worth is, they judge what the risk is, they judge what the reward is. And then they stamp that in indelible ink on some mythical piece of paper and enter into an alleged negotiation with that as the guiding light in their process. Well, that means nothing once a player is open to all 32 teams. And as I've been saying to you for quite some time, all it takes is one. And that's all it took here was the Jets. And the Jets didn't exactly exceed that amount by much. They just paid a little bit more. In terms of quarterback dollars, that was just a little bit more. Now compare the Steelers situation if they had somewhat overpaid Fields versus where they are now. Not optimal. When we come back, J1Q. This segment of Daily Shot is brought to you by our good friends at Mike's Beer Bar. They're located on Federal Street, directly across from PNC Park. Mike has more than 500 beers on tap, including from more than 50 local breweries. Stop in and say hello. Tell Mike we sent you. Mike's Beer Bar. Today's J1Q comes from Kevin Matlack, and it's as compelling a question as we're going to get in this calendar year. Yeah, I'm comfortable saying that already. Kevin asks, DK, is it possible that Omar Khan had a plan A going into Monday, but no plan B? Why spend all of that money on a number 1 wide receiver and then not have a quarterback to get him the ball? Let's face it, the options that are coming up on day 2 aren't better than they were on day 1. It feels like some GMs were playing chess while Omar was playing checkers. I can't know who's got a plan A and a plan B and who's got a plan C and chess and checkers because I'm not in those rooms. I never pretend to be. I can attest with conviction that Justin Fields was plan A. I don't have to wonder about that. That won't get rewritten, retold by anyone in any way. I also can share, yet again, for emphasis, that they did not see Russell Wilson as plan B because they didn't want him to even be plan Z. At least most of them, not everybody, most of them felt that way. But if you think about the events, not just of yesterday, but really over the weekend as a whole, the way reports were emerging from different parts of the country about the Steelers, say, suddenly being interested in Sam Darnold or suddenly being interested in Aaron Rodgers, it can certainly come across that Omar had an oh no moment at some point over the past 2-3 days when he realized this Fields thing's just not going to happen. But I'll come back at you and say that if there was only a plan A and no viable plan B, then what would have prevented Omar from matching the Jets' offer? Now, I have to qualify that by saying we don't know that the Steelers would have had that opportunity. Not every player and or agent is eager to do that. And there are no teams that like being used as leverage. So it's possible that the Jets would have said, hey, we're going to make you this offer, but we're not doing any back and forth here. Don't be running back to Pittsburgh with this. If you want this, take it. If not, get lost. But it's free agency, and the player and or agent really are the ones holding most of the cards. So I'm going to guess here that Omar would have had a chance to match at some point. It might not have been at the end. He would have been told, or could have been told, if you give us 2 and 40, you've got a deal. And he could have saved himself a whole lot of trouble for really the same amount of cash that they gave to Malik Harrison yesterday to be the linebacker who replaces Landon Roberts, because Roberts was the guy you needed to replace to fortify your run defense. Same amount of money. The same $10 million could have gone into your most important position instead of a potential downgrade at a position that didn't require anything at all, meaning inside linebacker. Oh man, we're in for a summer here, huh? What a nosedive all of this feels like after the Metcalf trade and signing. But you know what? That's how it should be. That's how pivotal this position is. It can undo everything else that you do. And yet, despite how many years now, because I don't even count since Ben Roethlisberger retired, I'm counting since like the final 2-3 years of his career, when there should have been a foundation put into place by Kevin Colbert, by Art Rooney, by Mike Tomlin, to have another quarterback or 2 or 3 that they could be setting up as his successor. Here we are now in 2025, very realistically looking at the Steelers signing up a 41-year-old. You want to know what I say to that? Ben's 43. Just go get Ben. I appreciate the question. I appreciate everybody listening to Daily Shot of Steelers. We'll be back with another one of these tomorrow.